It's a cinch, it'll never go back into the bag like that again. Well, hello everybody. Time to share a new purchase just picked up. Picked up a one Tigris winter underquilt, and it's the double wide. Picked this thing up, and I'm going to show the picture here so you guys can believe me. I'll show you the picture of the eBay page showing what I paid for this thing, because you're not going to believe what I paid. I paid $39.99 for this thing delivered. Okay, and I got it off of eBay. I got it on a sale that they seem to put on quite often, and I got it directly from one Tigris. So it's not like I'm buying a used product or a bootleg product. This is from one Tigris. It's just directly from them. It's theirs. Now, I suppose you probably remember the Sabito I did a while back. This was made by a clone, and it is a copy of these guys' original single wide underquilt. Picked this thing up for 27 bucks and some change, and I liked it. But it was just too narrow. And I kind of told myself at that time I'm going to wait and find a double wide when some of these guys, the clones, started making them, and they never did. At this point, they haven't. But I did find this one out there. Anyhow, we'll put it on this hammock right here. And what I'm going to do, there's one particular modification I had to make on it, and I'll show you in the video why I had to make it and what modification it was. And this is only going to be a preview because I haven't had a chance to really try it. It's springtime here in California. It's not cold, and I haven't had a chance to get this thing out in the cold weather, but I plan on doing another review just like I did with this one here. This here was kind of like a heads up to you people. This is kind of a heads up too. I don't think the sale's going on anymore, but keep an eye on eBay from time to time and check with the one Tigris page and see what they've got going on, because their storefront will sometimes show the entire inventory at half price, and that's what it was when I got this. Anyhow, there's going to be a couple of other modifications I will be making to this over time, and I'll probably do a short video on those mods I'm going to be doing. One will be a mod directly to this, and another will be a mod that will probably be transferable from this to various underquilts and what have you. So keep an eye open for those, okay? Let's get this thing on this hammock here, and actually what we'll do first, I think, is we'll break it down, show you everything in it, give you the specs, the information on it, then we'll hang it on this, okay? Right here we have a comparison of the single and the double. Now the single is a 3-season underquilt. The double is a winter one. So you're going to have a little bit more bulk in this one because of the thicker materials and what have you in it. But you get an idea of what the difference is in size. I'm going to lay these things out, and then you'll see what they look like laid out, and then we'll stretch them out. And for those of you who have to pack these things in and you want to find out what these things look like and how tight they pack up, what the bulk is on it, this is the single, and it's about the size of a large grapefruit. This one here is a double, and it is the size of a basketball. And if you look at them, you see that they both pretty much start out the same in life. The single seems to be a little deeper here to the double. Lengthwise are about the same. But let's get these things spread out, and that's where the difference is. And here's the single, and there's the double. You can see all this material right in the middle here. That's what's been added, and that's where the magic happens in this. As you can see, this is an 11-foot hammock, and it's just not going to fit in here the way it is right now. So what we're going to have to do is extend all this stuff here, and I'll change these out. Now out of the box, let me show you how simple this is to hook up. and you're done. Couldn't be any simpler than that. But we're going to make it a few changes to make it a little tougher to do, but not really bad at all. Now that method might work as far as getting it on the hammock is concerned, but if you'll take a look here, we've got a fairly large gap in here. We need to somehow get this stuff up a little more like that. Now if you have a ridge line that's open and you don't have a bug net on it, you can always put some ridge line clips up here and clip your leads up onto that, get the shot cord into the ridge line clip, and that'll pull it up. And then of course you can fill this much up, but you can see how much more it's not going to fill. Now I have actually put these on with an adjuster on it, so I can pull it a little tighter, and I'll show you that adjuster in a minute. But I found that lying in it, that this thing is still sucking some air. Let me show you what I do to correct that. Okay, first what I did was, instead of having these lines go around like they did, I separate them and I actually put new shot cord on it because this is an 11-foot hammock and I needed something longer than what they offered. Take and run it through here, loop it back, put on a retainer here, a cord lock on it, and then just tie the end. Now you can adjust this up and down to pull this thing where you want it. And I've actually separated the two. I use a single carabiner. Let me show you how that goes on. Okay, what I'm doing is pulling this up like so, going over the top with it, and locking the biner in there. Now I'll take this one here, bring it up over the top, and hook it into the biner. Now we're coming up higher, and let's get down, take a look at that area below. You can see how much tighter that is now. It's pulling it in real tight. And I can make more adjustments to it if I need to by just pulling on these here. And you can see it even brings it in tighter. Just a simple little thing to do. And I did this with a single that I have, and it's worked great on the single too. Now I was lying in this thing with it the original way when I had run these down underneath, and lying in the evening, it was mid-40s or so, which is not real cold or anything, but still cool enough that you would feel it. And I would move and I would feel a chill, because as I moved, the seal would break and the hot air would expand and would escape from the underquilt. Doing it this way here, moving around in there, and I can jump up and down, do all sorts of things, and it just stays. So it means it's staying sealed right here in the end, which is what I want to do. The other thing you want to be sure of is that this hammock lies down between these two, as opposed to sitting on top. The way they had the other one, if you hook it underneath, it sits on top. If you try to just use the one to lengthen it, this will come across, pulling these together tightly, and your hammock sits on top, making a massive gap right there. We don't want that. Let's have a look at the specs on this thing. This thing is 8.2 feet long, 5.5 feet wide, is made of 20D ripstock. It's wind resistant, has a DWR coating, so it is water resistant. Temperature range in Fahrenheit, you're looking at about 23 degrees to 41 is the ultimate range that they're calling for. -5 degrees up to 5 degrees Celsius. Weight on this thing calls for 59 ounces or just shy of that. This one actually weighs in at just around 57 ounces. This thing has a lifetime warranty on it. Now, you know what that means? Who knows? But that's what they say, a lifetime warranty. When it's compressed in its sack, it supposedly gets down to about 14 inches by about 7.8 inches. Let's take a look at how much coverage that 8.2 feet of underquilt gives us. This is an 11-foot hammock, and you can see that it starts right in this area here. We got quite a bit here that's not being used. However, you're never going to catch my feet or my head above this anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. And the same on the other end, where we've got a good, I'd say 14 inches or so right here of area that's not covered. Right here is where the piece that runs across is, and my head's always going to be right in this area here. The feet will probably never get any farther down than here, so if you've got an 11-footer and you want to use this on it, it should be just fine. Material-wise, this thing is a ripstock nylon. It is a, this one is green in color. They do make them in gray, I understand. I haven't seen them, but that's what I understand. On the inside, we've got a very soft, comfortable gray. And you can see the quilting works all the way around underneath. Right here we've got the grosgrain right here that's locked in here pretty securely. It's well stitched. No real issues with the stitching at all on it. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way the workmanship on it. Now, one thing you're going to notice about this underquilt is, unlike some of the others that are in the budget field, they don't have a line running through here with a pull string here, cord where you can pull it out and suck this thing up. But if you look at it, the side stays way high as it is, and it doesn't really need that. On both sides, you can take a look and see it, how high it sets. As to the loft on these things, this is the 3-season one, and you can see about how thick it is, and it's not very thick at all. I mean, I can actually feel my fingers right through that without any resistance at all, hardly. On this here, we're talking about 3 times as thick, 3 times as heavy. This is going to do some work. That other one got me down into the 40s, so if that'll get me in the 40s, I don't doubt that this is going to get me down to where they say it should. Time will tell, though. An excellent example of a loft on this thing. Okay, from inside here, you can see how high the sides of this stays up. Stays quite a ways up on you, rather than having to reach out and pull it up all the time like you do with some underquilts. Well, I guess this would be as good a time as any to sit down and give you my thoughts on this thing. First and foremost, if I look at it from 2 points here for me, I paid $39.99 for it. So from the $39.99 point of view, I mean, no matter what, it's a success. However, at the full price of around $80, I feel it's a good way to go. Now, I have a snug pack, and that's what we've been using for years, and it's never let me down. I love mine, and my wife has one too, and she loves hers. I would not have gone out and bought this for the $80 because I didn't really need it. But when it came up at this price of just a little under $40, I snatched it up, because a long time ago, when they first came out with the clones for these guys, for one Tigris' original version of the underquilt, the clone, I got the clone for like $27 some change, and it worked great. But it was a 3-season one, and it also has it was small. It had limitations of what I could do with it. And at that point in time, I figured, well, I'll just wait until someone on the clones come out and make one of these things here at a low price. Well, lo and behold, the clones never did it, but these guys did. And that's something you guys do want to keep an eye on. It appears that this happens more often. I wasn't the first to catch this. I mean, a friend of mine, Marshall, he has a channel called Chesapeake Hammock Outdoors, I think it is. I'll put a link down below to his channel. He found one of these here, the smaller version, but a winter one, the single version, and he found it for like $30. and he did a series of reviews on it, and I was kind of impressed with the fact that he got it so cheap, and he got the real deal as opposed to some clone. So keep your eyes open, because when I got this, there was a long list of things on eBay of things that were 50% off. I mean, it was a massive list. They were selling a lot of things at half off, so it's not the first time. Keep an eye out on it. Now, my thoughts on it, though. It's going to be warm. It's going to keep me warm, I can tell you that. I haven't had a chance to actually put it through the paces because, I'm in Southern California, and right now it's 100 degrees out. And in the evenings, the lowest it's been getting is about 60, 65. Although about 3 weeks ago when I got it, we were getting into the mid-40s, and I was able to use it there. And, it kept me warm. It kept me very warm. After I made the adjustments I needed to do on it, as I told you earlier in the video, that I did have, every time I'd move, it would air would escape, and I'd have to reheat everything. Once I got this thing set up the way I do now, then it hasn't given me any more trouble. So it's going to work. I know it's going to work, and it's probably going to take me down to where they say it will. Although I'll never get there, not in Southern California. I've lived here for off and on, mostly on for, since the late 60s or mid 60s, and what have you. And I think the coldest I've ever seen is 18 degrees. And in reality, the coldest I think I've ever camped in is probably in the 30s somewhere. So I've never put it through that kind of stress, and I'll probably never will. So any of you guys who have this and have had the opportunity to use it in real cold weather, let us know. Let us know what if it's capable of doing it. I mean, I think it probably will be. Like I said, the Snug Pack has never let me down. I've had it into the high 30s and the low 40s, and I had to use a booster by putting the jungle blanket in between me and the underquilt, or the under blanket as they call it, and it worked fine. It kept me nice and warm. This thing here is, the loft on it is more than the Snug Pack when I included the jungle blanket in it. So it really did the job there. And this one here, all in one, is loftier and looks like it's going to be a lot better. So, I'd recommend getting it. I mean, if you're a backpacker, you're going long distances and stuff, no, you don't want to take this thing. The bulk is too much, the weight is too much. But most of the people that I've seen videos on and what have you, most of those guys are not doing the long distance packing and stuff like that. Most of the guys are base camping, and we base camp. That's all we do. We'll base camp and we'll hike out from there and then come back. Of course, at our age, we don't want to be doing any long distance hiking, but not that you can't do it at our age, but we just don't want to anymore. I mean, the days of going long distances are long behind us. We like to hang around and just relax when we go camping and what have you. So, if you're a backpacker, this is not going to be for you. If you're on a budget, maybe the single would be fine for you, because it does pack down very small, about yay big. It's a little heavier than the expensive things, but who can afford $200 for an underquilt? I certainly can't. And I do like a full quilt. I like it to be all the way underneath me. I see some of those guys with a quilt this long, and it works for them. I just don't think it'll work for me. I like my comfort. And this thing here, I think is going to do. I'm going to use this. I'm going to leave the Snug Pack packed away, or possibly let one of the grandkids use it when we take them with us. But I'm not going to use it this coming winter. I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to put it through its paces and make it work and see how well it works out. Anyhow, give it a shot if you guys are interested in it. Got any questions? Leave them down below as we normally do, and I'll try to answer what I can. Thanks a lot. We'll catch you next time.